The story begins with a group of hunters in the jungle who had killed many animals. And these hunters would hunt animals, skin them, and sell the hides in the city. These men were just about to tie up the hides and prepare to leave from here when the indigenous people of the jungle attacked them and surrounded them from all sides. The indigenous people of the jungle were very angry and started shooting arrows at them, which resulted in many men of the hunting party being killed. And this indigenous group attacked for this reason, because someone had kidnapped the daughter of their chief. And these indigenous people believed that it was the work of these hunters. These men also fought back against those indigenous people, but the indigenous people were greater in number. So these men could not fight them, and several of their men died. Now, the captain of the hunting party also realized that if they fought with the indigenous people, they would all die. So he told his group to take as many hides as possible and quickly go toward the boat with them. Here the main character of the film, Glass, comes to his son and tells him to quickly reach the boat. It was then that these men saw another large group of indigenous people coming. So these men stopped fighting and quickly ran toward the boat to save their lives. In the meantime, many more men of the hunting party died. Only a few men reached the boat and left from there. After they left, the indigenous people seized all the hides that were left from the hunters, and the chief of the tribe did not find his daughter here. Now the chief of the tribe tells his men to gather all the remaining hides from those American hunters. We will give these hides to the French hunters. In exchange, we will take horses and guns from them and will continue to look for my daughter until she is found. On the other hand, these American hunters were fearful even after traveling a great distance and were ready with their guns. Came because they also knew that those indigenous people would not let go of them so easily and could attack them at any time. Now, these men were confused about which way they should go. Then the captain asks Glass what they should do. Glass says that we should leave this boat and travel by land because those indigenous people will quickly reach us by following the river. This is why the land route is the safest route for all of us. But this suggestion from Glass didn't seem right to a man in their group named Fitzgerald. He says that if we go by land, they will kill us quickly because the land route is very long and it will take us weeks to reach home. But the captain of the group tells Fitzgerald that Glass knows this place better than us, so we should follow his advice, and these men decide that they will now go by the land route. Now Fitzgerald also agrees with the captain's words here. But the decision of Glass to go by land does not seem right to some people. So those men decide to reach home by the river using the boat. After this, those who are supposed to go by land get off the boat, and some men on the boat proceed along the river route. Here the captain tells everyone that we should leave all our hides here so that we do want to face any problems on the way. Everyone agrees with the captain's words, after which these men hide all the hides under stones so that if these men ever come back to this place in the future, they can get their hides, and now everyone starts walking through the jungle. But now the problem was about to increase for them because winter was approaching soon, and they had to walk for several weeks to reach their homes. But they had no other way besides this. So all these men were ready to face the cold. It becomes evening as they walk along the jungle path. And now these men stop at one place and decide to spend the night here. It becomes night within some time, and everyone falls asleep in the jungle. The next morning, we see that those who thought Glass's decision to walk the land route was wrong are now regretting their mistake. Those indigenous people come and kill them, and the indigenous people understand that some men have left by walking through the jungle path. So these men spread throughout the jungle to search for those surviving American hunters. An indigenous person also finds the footprints of the American hunters who went by the land route. He comes and informs the chief of his tribe. The chief of the tribe thinks that my daughter is with them, and now these indigenous people follow the footprints and go after them. Meanwhile, these men continuously walk for many hours and proceed along the jungle path, and these men become very tired. So these men set up camp here to rest for a while, and everyone starts resting. All the men were hungry, but there was nothing to eat. So Glass goes out alone into the jungle to hunt. After walking some distance, he feels that someone is nearby. So Glass picks up his gun and gets ready, and then he sees two small bear cubs in front of him. As Glass is about to leave from there, a large bear immediately attacks him, causing Glass's gun to fall from his hand. The bear picks up Glass and throws him down and severely wounds Glass. Now Glass could not do anything, so he lay down quietly on the ground. When Glass calms down, the bear also starts to leave from there. But Glass somehow reaches his gun to get a kill. Just then, the bear comes again to attack Glass. Glass quickly shoots it with the gun, but the bullet hits the bear's neck instead of its head. As a result, the bear becomes even angrier now and tears Glass's throat with its claw. But the bear doesn't stop, and it badly cuts Glass's entire body with its claw. The bear was also weakened due to being shot. Glass somehow pulls out a knife and strikes the bear several times. As a result, the two of them roll down from a mound, after which the bear also falls on top of Glass. But the bear was dead, and Glass was also almost dying because the bear had completely ripped his throat and he had deep wounds all over his body. Glass was in a lot of pain. When Glass had shot the bear, his companions heard the sound of the gun. So Glass's companions reach there looking for him, and they see the bear lying on top of Glass. They remove the bear from him with great difficulty and take Glass with them. Now one man among them starts stitching Glass's wounds. Due to the pain, Glass was in a terrible state. His throat was badly cut, and he had quite deep wounds all over his body. Seeing Glass's wounds, these men understand that Glass will not survive now and will die within some time. On the other hand, the chief of the indigenous tribe gives the remaining hides from the American hunters to the French hunters, in return for which he takes guns and horses from them, which means the problem was about to increase for these American hunters, i.e., Glass and his companions. Because earlier, these indigenous people used to attack with bows and arrows. But now, the indigenous people had horses and guns too. Now, Glass could not walk due to being severely injured. So these men make a stretcher out of wood for Glass. They put Glass on top of it and start moving forward. In this way, these men carry Glass one by one. These men carry Glass quite far. But the road ahead was very difficult because there was a high hill in front that these men had to cross. This hilly road was so bad that even a single person could not properly climb it. So it was impossible to carry Glass up from here. These men still try. But these men cannot lift Glass. It was then that their captain tells one of his men to put a cloth over Glass's mouth. Actually, he was going to shoot Glass because he thinks that Glass is suffering, and anyway Glass will not survive now. Glass was moaning in pain, and taking him home from here was almost impossible. The captain was about to kill Glass when his son comes forward and says not to do so. The captain feels pity for him, and he cannot shoot Glass because everyone was alive, because of Glass. The captain tells all the people present there that the two men who stay with Glass until he dies will be given $80 upon returning to the village. The captain says that Glass has helped all of us, and the captain wanted Glass to have a natural death, and when Glass dies, those two men will perform his last rites and return. Now Glass's son immediately says that he will stay, and there was another young man whose name was Fraser. He says he will stay whether he gets $80 or not. Now Glass's son Hawk and Fraser were both young in age. So the captain says that one more person should stay with them. Here Fitzgerald comes forward and says that he will stay, but $80 is too little. Then the captain says, okay, it will be $300. And then Glass's son and the other young man say that you can keep our dollars too. Hearing this, Fitzgerald says that $300 is enough. With this, I can buy my own house, and anyway it's a matter of 2 to 3 days. Glass will not survive for more than this, and Fitzgerald also agrees to stay with them. Now these three men stay here with Glass, and everyone else moves forward. Fitzgerald sits next to Glass, and waits for Glass to die. But Glass was not showing any sign of dying. The next day, Glass's son and the other young man go to hunt for food and fetch water for drinking. Then Fitzgerald starts digging a pit nearby. But why was Fitzgerald doing this? Is he thinking of burying Glass alive? We will find this out later. In this way, several more hours pass, and when Fitzgerald sees that Glass is still not dead, then he comes to Glass in anger and asks Glass why he doesn't die. Because of you. All our lives will be lost because the indigenous people are still looking for us like crazy, and if the indigenous people come here, they will kill all of us, and you can save your son's life and all our lives by giving up your life. Now Fitzgerald tells Glass that if you lower your eyelids, I will understand that you are ready to die. Poor Glass tries for a long time not to move his eyelids. But then Fitzgerald tells him that I think you don't even want to save your son. Hearing Fitzgerald's words, Glass lowers his eyelids to save his son. Seeing this, Fitzgerald stuffs a cloth into his mouth and suffocates him, and Glass was now struggling and dying. Just then, Glass's son comes and pushes Fitzgerald back with the gun. Glass's son points the gun at Fitzgerald and threatens to kill him. Fitzgerald tries to explain to him why he was doing this, but Glass's son doesn't listen to anything he says and starts shouting, after which Fitzgerald stabs Glass's son in the stomach and kills him right in front of Glass. Glass's throat was completely cut, so he cannot even scream. He just watches his son die, and Fitzgerald picks up his son and hides him far away so that when the third young man comes there, he does not see it. After some time, when that young man comes there, he asks Fitzgerald where Hawk is. Then Fitzgerald tells him that he will be somewhere nearby. He will come back soon. Poor Glass tries to explain to that young man, whose name is Bridger, that Fitzgerald killed my son, but he cannot speak because no sound could come out of his mouth. Now it's night. Fitzgerald and Bridger fall asleep. The next morning, Fitzgerald wakes Bridger up and lies to him that he just saw 20 indigenous tribesmen rapidly approaching them a short distance from here. If they reach here, they will cut us into pieces. Hearing this, Bridger gets scared and asks what will happen to Glass and his son Hawk if they leave. To which Fitzgerald says that if Hawk is alive, he will find us. Then that young man says that Glass is still alive, and we've promised the captain that after Glass dies, we will perform his last rites with full rituals and leave from here. After hearing this, Fitzgerald grabs Glass by the leg and drags him badly. Glass had wounds all over his body, and he was screaming in pain. Now Fitzgerald throws Glass alive into the grave he had dug a day earlier and starts putting soil on top of him. Then the young man asks what he is doing. Fitzgerald says that he will die today or tomorrow anyway. And as we promised, his last rites will be performed with full rituals. So I have kept my promise. He puts a little soil on him and leaves from there and tells that young man to come with him too. Bridger feels very sorry for Glass in this state. He tells Glass, "Sorry, Mr. Glass, I have to go." And saying this, he places a water bottle on top of Glass and leaves from there. Now Glass is alone here. He is struggling. Glass lies half dead for many hours in the place where he was buried and left. He thinks that if he is going to die lying here anyway, why not try to live? He musters up all his courage, moves his hands and feet, and with great difficulty he gets out of the grave. Glass was in a lot of pain. He crawls straight to the place where his son's dead body is. He completely breaks down seeing his son's dead body and starts burning with the fire of revenge. After this, he puts his head on his son's dead body and falls asleep. On the other hand, after morning, Fitzgerald wakes Bridger up and tells him to wake up quickly. We have to leave from here. 12 men of the indigenous tribe are following us. Hearing this, Bridger tells Fitzgerald that you said 20 men were following us. He realizes that Fitzgerald lied to him, so he aims the gun at Fitzgerald. Then Fitzgerald tells Bridger that he should be thanking him. I saved your life, and it was necessary to scare you because we could unrisk our lives with a half-dead person. Glass was going to die anyway, and if you want to stay alive, do as I say. Otherwise, you can go back to Glass alone." Hearing this, Bridger accepts Fitzgerald's words out of fear and continues to move forward with him. On the other hand, Glass is at that place, and now Glass gets hungry. He crawls to a place where a skull of an animal is lying. He breaks a bone from it and eats the dry meat that is there. Then he crawls up to the edge of a hill where he sees a river below. Glass was also thirsty now. With great difficulty, he crawls in the same manner and reaches the bank of that river and starts drinking water. But when he drinks water, the water comes out of his throat because his throat was cut. Now Glass first had to treat his wounds. He had a little gunpowder left. He gathers dry grass, starts a fire, and applies a little gunpowder to the part of his throat where it was cut. Then he puts a burnt stick on his neck, which causes the gunpowder to burn and create a spark, and that spark burns his throat. He does this so that the wounds that are split open due to the burning get joined together. Glass is in a lot of pain at this time, and due to the pain, he faints. After this, Glass stays on the bank of that river for several days. He keeps himself alive by drinking water and eating the meat of dead animals. One day, the men of that indigenous tribe arrive at the riverbank, and before they could see Glass, Glass quickly jumps into the river. He swims in the river and moves far away from those indigenous people. After staying in this ice-cold water of the river, Glass was in a terrible state due to the cold. With great difficulty, he lights a fire to warm his body and now decides to stay right here. In this way, many days pass while Glass stays here. Now his wounds were also healing, and Glass had started walking a little. Since he was on the riverbank, he had no shortage of water, but he got food with great difficulty to fill his stomach. He would catch fish from the river there and eat it raw to survive the day and keep himself alive. Now one night when he was sleeping, he sees some flames of fire, and when he goes in that direction, there is a man who had hunted a large kill and was eating it. Glass goes to him, and as soon as he sees Glass, he aims his arrow and bows at him. Glass gestures that he is not a threat to him. He just wants food. That man understands and gives Glass a piece of the hunt to eat, and both of them sleep right there all night. In the morning, when that man sees Glass's wounds, he asks Glass what happened to him. Then Glass tells him that he was hunting with his group, and a wild bear caused this condition of his. After which, his companions left him in the jungle to die, and they also killed his son. Hearing this, that man feels very sorry for Glass, and this man says that the French hunters also killed his entire family. Saying this, that man becomes very emotional. But he says that he does not want to take revenge on those French people because revenge is in the hands of God. While looking at Glass's wounds, that man says that he can travel with them, and after this, the two of them continue their journey on a horse. On the other hand, Fitzgerald and Bridger reach quite close to their village. But before entering the village, Fitzgerald tells Bridger that no one should know about whatever they did. He tells Bridger that if they find out the truth, the captain will hang them. Bridger reluctantly agrees to his words. Now Fitzgerald and that young man go to the captain, and Fitzgerald informs the captain that they were with Glass until his last breath. They buried him with a proper funeral, and Glass's son fell into the hands of the indigenous people, and they ran away from there to save their lives. Hearing this, the captain gives $100 to both of them, as per his promise. But that young man leaves without taking the money. Fitzgerald picks up that young man's money too, and says that this young man is in despair because of whatever happened on the journey. That is why he is doing this, and Fitzgerald also goes out from there. On the other hand, Glass was continuing the journey with that man in the snow, and just then a snowstorm starts. Glass was sick, and his wounds were festering, and because of this, he faints. After which, that man makes a small hut out of wood for Glass and takes off all of Glass's clothes, puts him inside it, covers him from all sides, and lights a fire in front so that he can get warmth. In this way, the night passes, and the next morning when Glass wakes up, He looks around, but that man is nowhere to be seen, and when he moves forward a little, he sees that someone has hanged that man from a tree and is suspended, and right there, some distance away, Glass sees the French hunters. Glass realizes that these people are the ones who hanged that man. Now Glass cleverly comes from behind in secret and kills the man who is doing bad things to the chief's daughter and frees the girl. Here, Glass acts cleverly, gets on a horse and unties the ropes of the rest of the horses and fires a gun which causes all the horses to run away. And now, since those French people do not have horses, they cannot chase Glass. But Glass's water bottle falls down there while escaping. After escaping from there, Glass spends the night under a tree, and when morning comes, he sees that the indigenous people are about to reach him. He quickly gets on his horse and starts running. But those indigenous people were quite close to him. He shoots one or two indigenous people and makes the horse run faster, and while running, a hill comes in front of which had a deep ditch below. But Glass cannot stop now, because if he stops, those indigenous people will kill him. So Glass throws himself with the horse from that ditch and falls straight into the snow after hitting a tree on the way down. The horse dies as it falls directly onto small stones below, but Glass is still alive. Because he falls onto a thick layer of snow after hitting the tree, but his condition is much worse now. Just then, a severe storm comes and the cold increases a lot. Now if Glass does not find a warm place for himself, he will freeze to death in the cold. Now Glass cuts the horse's stomach to escape the cold and takes out all the organs from inside it and sleeps there at night because he knows that if he stays outside, he will die of cold. He somehow spends the whole night inside that horse's stomach. In the morning when he wakes up, he sees that the weather has become normal now, and once again he continues his journey. On the other hand, we see that a French hunter arrives where Glass has to reach, and he asks for help from the American hunters. These men bring him inside. The captain asks him what finally happened to him. So that man informs them that a man came who killed their captain and then freed all their horses. Actually, this man was talking about Glass, and the man who was doing bad things to the chief's daughter was actually the captain of those French hunters. That man tells that after the horses were freed, their entire group scattered. Some of their men died due to the cold, and some were killed by wolves. For proof, this man shows these men some things belonging to his companions, and while showing a water bottle. He says that this water bottle was dropped by the man who killed their captain while leaving, and this is the same bottle that Bridger had left on Glass when he left him at that place. Bridger says that this is Glass's bottle that he gave him. Now these men ask that man where Glass killed their captain, and that man tells them the place 30 miles away. After which Captain Reiser and some men leave on horseback to search for Glass, and here Fitzgerald realizes that he will be caught now. After many hours of travel, it becomes night, and these men reach the place where that man's bottle was found. The captain tells all the men to look for Glass all around, and just then they see a man from a distance. When these men go near him, is none other than Glass, and the captain is completely surprised to see Glass because Fitzgerald had told him he was dead. The captain comes to Glass and asks him what happened to him. Then Glass tells him the whole truth. After which, the captain quickly comes to his village to catch Fitzgerald and searches for Fitzgerald. But Fitzgerald has stolen all the money from the chest and run away. The captain angrily hits Bridger and tells his men to arrest Bridger. But Glass tells the captain that it was not Bridger's fault. Bridger did not know anything about whatever happened there. So you let him go. And now the captain decides that he will go to catch Fitzgerald because he killed Glass's son and he also stole the money. Then Glass says that he will also go with him. But the captain says no, you need rest now. I will go to kill him alone. Glass says no, I've traveled a long distance for him and only I will kill him. After which the captain agrees to Glass's words and the two of them leave on horseback to kill Fitzgerald. The two of them were following the footprints of Fitzgerald's horse, and after going a long distance, the two of them changed their path. The captain tells Glass to go by the right road and he will go by the left road. Now the two of them separate from each other, and when the captain was searching for Fitzgerald, Fitzgerald comes out from behind a large stone and, aiming his gun at the captain, asks what he is doing here. The captain tells him that he is accused of murder, so he should come with him, but Fitzgerald does not agree. Now, just as the captain was about to take out his gun from his pocket to shoot him, Fitzgerald shoots the captain, resulting in the captain's death. Hearing the sound of the gun, Glass comes in that direction, and Glass sees the captain's dead body lying there, and Fitzgerald has escaped. Now Glass acts wisely, breaks a large branch of wood and puts it on the captain's back so that his back becomes straight. After which he seats the captain on the horse, and he himself lies like a dead body on the horse behind, so that Fitzgerald thinks that the one in front is Glass, and the one lying behind is the captain's dead body. And that is exactly what happens. Seeing these horses, Fitzgerald thinks that the one in front is Glass, and the one lying behind is the captain's dead body. After which, he shoots the person in front, and as soon as he is shot, he falls. Fitzgerald becomes happy, and he thinks that Glass is also dead now. He slowly comes towards the dead body. When he reaches the dead body and turns the body over, he finds out that it is not Glass, but the captain. Now before Fitzgerald could do anything, just then, Glass gets up from the horse behind and shoots Fitzgerald. The bullet hits Fitzgerald's shoulder, and he starts running away from there. Then Glass also chases him, and while chasing, he reaches the bank of a river where a big fight takes place between the two of them. Both of them severely injure each other, and just then we see that the men of that indigenous tribe arrive on the other side of the river who want to kill these men. And when Glass was about to kill Fitzgerald, he remembers the man who had given him meat to eat and was later hanged by the French people. He had once told Glass that instead of taking revenge on the person who does bad to others, it should be left to the will of God. So Glass also leaves Fitzgerald in the river. Floating in the river, Fitzgerald reaches the other side, where those indigenous people catch him and kill him, and now those men cross the river and come towards Glass. But those men do not say anything to Glass and start leaving him there. Actually, the chief of the tribe had found his daughter, and this is the same girl who Glass had once saved from the French people when she was about to be raped. This girl informs her father about Glass that he saved her life, and this is the reason why those men leave Glass there and go away. With this, the story ends. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and like the video.